Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 4 of Shaun Doesn't Play Video Games. I'm your host, Tyler, and with me always is my lovely co-host, Shaun Evans.
Hey, everybody.
Today, we're talking about Bastion, the indie hit from 2011. All right, so, Shaun, Bastion, what did you think of the story? What is the story? What do we do?
I'd say that'd be a better question. So the story, from what I got of it, was okay. So the Bastion was this town that was, what was it, blown up or like destroyed by an evil. Well, I kind of miss. I don't know. Maybe it's been a couple weeks since I finished playing it.
It's okay.
Was it destroyed by another civilization, or did it just? Was it like destroyed by some kind of like Geist or something? I don't remember.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I think that it's allowed to kind of be a little ambiguous, but
Okay.
it was destroyed.
Right.
And you know what? That's really what the important part is.
Okay.
So.
Basically, that like sets the journey of going around and completing the Bastion again. But it's not just like completing the Bastion. You're doing that. You're going around and collecting the crystals to bring back to the Bastion, and you bring back other little prizes like the animals and whatnot. But you're also chasing Zell. Right? That's his name?
Is what?
What's the name of the guy? Zell? Was that his name?
The character that you're playing?
No. The first guy, the evil guy. Quote unquote.
The evil guy. Ooh. I think it's Zell.
Okay, yeah. And then what's the name of the guy that's kind of the sheriff of the Bastion? He talks like this.
He's the narrator.
Narrator? Is that he's called narrator?
No, he has a name. I'm looking it up right now, but
so
but yes.
And he's kind of guiding you along, but I mean, it was good. I liked it a lot. So that's kind of what I got from the story. It was kind of a lead your own adventure. There was the cool parts where you go and learn all the weapons and kind of unlock the challenges as you did all the weapons.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't really focus that much on that. I kind of focused on playing the game a lot more. So,
right. So the game starts off where you don't really have any idea of what's going on. All you know is that everything around you is crumbling, and so you kind of have to just kind of go and figure out what's going on. And then kind of like the story definitely unravels in like a really, it feels pretty slow because it's kind of like you kind of go to these different places and they feel sort of like a non-linear sort of story almost because you don't really, I feel like, learn about sort of like the narrative that's going on, like the main line of the narrative, but you do learn about the world, and it's a lot of world building. It's not necessarily about like what you're aiming towards, because right now you're just kind of trying to rebuild the Bastion, and then once you rebuild the Bastion, then something kind of happens.
I was gonna say, can you like describe to me what the world building is? Because I felt like it was more like reclaiming anything more than it was building anything.
Well, it always took the time to really kind of describe to you what each weapon did.
Yeah.
And like what. And I'm not saying it like it fed you like stuff. It gave you like little tidbits. It kind of like, as you're kind of like walking through the area, it kind of described like sort of like the creatures before and after the calamity, or like kind of just like sort of what might have happened. Because like, you know, as you're like walking through, I believe in the first area, you know, there's the people, like sort of the frozen people, or like the stone people. That kind of like the memories of them. And so that's kind of what I mean sort of by, it does like a little bit of world building. It kind of gives you little like sections of sort of like a story. Like it kind of gives you like side tales that kind of like help you establish the world around you. Like I said, but like you're kind of saying that I kind of don't really remember the particulars of any of the people that you kind of ran into. But at the time, I remember that I felt it was very satisfying. I was like, "Ooh, this feels good," you know. So I would say this story definitely has more narrative than the previous 3 games that we've even covered. So would you say this is a better, more of your speed, a little bit more meat? Is this kind of what you wanted, or are you still kind of looking for a little bit more than that?
I like this game. I would say that I'm interested to see what else is out there because
Mm-hmm.
this is like number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but that I feel like every game has gotten a little bit more satisfying in terms of like providing a storyline that's better. I found myself saying like, wanting to actually go back. I felt like with Fez, a lot of my play with Fez was kind of like forced. Like I just wanted to get to my basic goal of playing like 5 or 6 hours of it. But
Uh-huh.
with Bastion, I really wanted to beat it. And I don't know, I wouldn't say maybe like beat it isn't the right word, or the right way to describe it, as like finish the story.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know, I just really wanted to get there. Like, yeah, I come so far, and so that's
Okay, so you would say that the narrative was more satisfying than anything we've completed so far. But
totally.
do you feel like you are looking for more? Is this a good like level of story and narrative?
Mm, yeah, I mean, so far, yeah. I don't know. It's difficult to say because I haven't had like this has been the most of anybody, and yeah, I like that. I like more
Mm-hmm.
narrative, I guess, is what I've learned
Okay.
so far.
Well, because it's a relatively sparse game, I would say, because you don't really run into a whole lot of other people. You're really still kind of by yourself, and
Right.
that's thinking about that. I kind of realized that you really don't run into a lot of people in a lot of and like literally any of these games that we've played. You're pretty alone, which
Right.
is I didn't really think about that you've had a lot of solitary, you know, they've definitely been like lone warrior journeys, which is interesting. I didn't really think
Right.
about that.
Well, who was like Dr. Fetus was the only, and like Meat Girl were the only other two people,
Right, and you don't
and
even
Meat
talk to them.
Boy, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they chased you or you found them, and then in Fez, it was like the townspeople, but it was a very like one-sided. Or
And
in the
then,
little orb, that's it. Like you really, there's no.
right, but in this game, you have one of the defining features of the game is you have someone literally telling you everything that you're doing all the time, narrated by a gravelly man. He's made of gravel. Ruckus. That's or Rufus.
I think it's Ruckus.
Yeah, Uncle
I
Ruckus.
thought, yeah, I thought about the Boondocks and I saw that.
Right. Um, but no, how did you feel about that? As I feel like as someone that I would assume watches far more movies than I do, you probably are and like read more than I do. You kind of like have more experience with, I guess, with like sort of like a storytelling, and I guess just experiencing stories in general. So this felt like a little handholdy, I would say, because it just kind of tells you how did that make you feel? How did you take the literal narrator of everything?
I mean, to be honest, I never really thought about it like that. Um, it's difficult to compare all this stuff because like some books are written like so detailed that it's like the context of imagery is just so much more complex. And but that said, like I didn't mind the narrator. I really like at some points I kind of like cast aside what Ruckus was saying when I was playing, like, but I kind of also wasn't annoyed by it because I put this in like some kind of steampunk western. That's
Mm-hmm.
kind of how I felt. So it was kind of nice to have like the soundtrack for this was absolutely amazing and beautiful too. So I was actually pretty intrigued. I felt like the music was a lot better of a narrative than Ruckus was a narrative.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty crazy, but okay. So you would say that he was a nice accent,
Right.
but you didn't necessarily need him maybe as much as he was there in
Right.
this
And
throughout the
I
game.
guess what really clued me into that and really like backs up how I feel about that has to be the ending of the game, which I suppose we'll get to at a certain point.
Right.
But I didn't feel like with the way that the game ended that he was all that necessary throughout the whole process.
Mm. Well, I think it's certainly informed the game a little bit. I think it wouldn't be as I would say the game is iconic. I wouldn't say the game would be as memorable or iconic had it not had the narration.
Right.
I would definitely say that maybe not necessarily what he was saying was important, but that he was saying it or saying something mattered.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I can't necessarily remember anything that he said in particular that was particularly profound. But like I said, it's kind of like everything's gives you like these little pockets of information. There's all sorts of like little bits of detail that you just kind of get fed, and it kind of pushes you along as you kind of like move throughout the levels.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. Since I guess we'll talk about the whole story. So the game pretty much leads you complete the Bastion, and then someone betrays you. One of the people that you ended up encountering, and then you he has like a team of assassins, and so it kind of leads into this situation where you kind of have to either fight these people or you kind of have to like lay yourself on the line and kind of like submit yourself to them a little bit.
Right.
So,
I feel like that was so the last level. Keep going. Sorry, I shouldn't.
No, it's okay. That's okay. Keep going.
I feel like the last level, after you complete the Bastion, is where the game got super interesting for me, because you have to answer the what in my mind are 3 questions that kind of like set the rest of the course for the game. And the first one is like when you go into that last level, it asks you and has you go through that menu of like, are you sure that you want to go? Like you can't return from playing this level, blah blah blah. I did think about that. Part of me was kind of like, I don't really, like, yeah, I was sitting, it was late at night, so I was like, yeah, I'm just going to sit down and finish this. It can't be that much further if they're going to make you say that you can't return from this.
Right.
But then, so after you get through all of those levels, you like kind of like walk through a bunch of them again, you have to decide, you have to make your decision of like whether or not you carry Zell to the end, or you just keep pushing through. And then after that, you have to decide whether you stay and rebuild the Bastion or leave to do something else.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I just thought that was kind of a really beautiful part of the game. I loved it up until then, but I really loved that part. That like there was a little bit of
right, because it's either you keep everything the way it is, or you go back and you don't go back in time. Or is it? Do you go back in time? I think
I was curious about how the other alternate endings, because I can say that like when it came time to say like, do you carry Zell to the end? I did. I said yeah, because I don't. That's just like a personal thing of mine. Like I felt like my identity was kind of confirmed in the game that like, you don't treat somebody like that. So I took him to the end, and when it was like, do you want to save the Bastion? I said, no, I want to go and start all over again, because, there's just, yeah, you fought for something that you love, but I just felt like there was something that was,
wow,
it's time to go. There's time for something else.
That's interesting that you decided you want to revert what happened.
So,
because I was definitely like, listen, the damage has already been done. Like, I would say almost it was. I feel like I probably did a little more selfishly than I probably should have been. But I was like, I'm here right now, and I didn't want to have to lose like all those experiences that I had gained. And so I felt that it was really important that I just kind of like push forward, because I was like, because the Bastion, they kind of like allude that it could have like been like some sort of like super weapon or something. It kind of maybe have been like a monolith of destruction or something like that. It kind of like,
right. That's why I left, because I kind of got that illusion too, that like something was still lurking there. There was still something that was going on. That's why I thought, what, it's better just to leave. Just start over.
Okay.
What? So when you did the stay ending, was it? What did Ruckus say? Do you remember at all?
Well, we did
because it rolled credits, I imagine.
Right. Well, the thing is that I think there was like there was the girl that you were with,
right?
And then there was, I think you all just kind of like went off together on the Bastion, and it kind of I don't know. They tried to. It was kind of along the lines of trying to build like a better world, try to like not repeat the mistakes that they had made.
Okay. So the ending was kind of the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, hold on. What was your ending?
It was similar to that. That like Ruckus seemed to be kind of like upset that you would leave something that you fought so hard for, but it reverberated the same lines of like,
okay.
well, we're gonna build something and we're not gonna make the mistakes of the past, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm. Wait, did we choose the same thing?
Did you choose to leave the world?
Hold on. Okay, hold on. Because we might be talking about the same thing.
But did you fight through, or did you save Zell? Did you carry Zell?
I carried him.
Okay, I did too.
Okay, I don't think that's the part. Okay, so let's see.
But then after that, you get to decide whether you stay with the Bastion or leave the Bastion.
Right. Okay. Okay, so the outcomes are either restoration. The player chooses to restore the old world. The story ends with an enigmatic declaration. I'll see you in the next one. Okay, and then evacuation. And then so you did the evacuation then?
Yeah, I did the evacuation.
Okay, so then I definitely did the. Wait, did I? No, hold on. I think I might have chosen the same one. I wish I would research this. Whoops.
That's interesting that we chose the same one too.
Whatever. Anyway, that's fine. We can do a follow up to that because it's because this is bad. This is bad television. It's okay. Anyway, so we might have chosen the same ending, which is fine. It's been like 3 weeks since we've played this game, so that's probably why we're having trouble figuring this out. All right, so story. There's presentation. All right, so what'd you think? This game was not a pixelated 2D side scroller.
Nope.
It's fully 3D. Although isometric view 3D, which is important to know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's different. Better or worse?
Better.
Better?
Yeah. Actually, when I was looking at the design of this game, it really kind of reminded me of like the graphic design that you do a little bit. I kind of gotta.
Oh, well, that's good to know.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe think of your graphic design. But yeah, no, I liked it a lot. I pretty much liked everything about it. I really can't find a flaw in this. Like, the weapons were cool. The levels were awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Colors were vibrant.
Mm-hmm. How did you feel about the slowly building world?
Oh yeah, I like that too. I like it was kind of nice after you like built everything through the first 8 crystals that you knew what the next part was going to be. Like, you knew you were going to go through stuff and get new crystals, and
mm-hmm.
you could find your way through the map. And I mean, it was good to know where I was going.
Right.
So
you didn't have any problems with like falling off the edge or anything because you kind of like went too far in one. In
at some points I did, but I did do it on you can't lose mode or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't that big of a deal.
You can't lose mode. What do you mean?
Didn't you do the thing where you can't die, or you can die but you instantly get like reborn?
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Well, that's fine. That's not a big deal.
Which is a good thing to have for people like me who would die all the time.
Right. Okay, so
I'm dying on that game.
Well, why do you think that you so being in a different like style? I mean, I don't know. It's certainly different from like what you would consider like a fully 3D sort of like rendered like modern military shooter or like an Assassin's Creed. It's still like has sort of like a certain quirk to it. It's
Mm-hmm.
not exactly like a fully like you can't look in every direction. It's very like placed. You
Right.
can't really can't really look around things. You only have one view of it, and that really lends itself to like very like highly detailed art because you get to focus on the one view. You don't have to worry about what the sides are going to look like or what any other views. So you get to really focus on the experience.
Right.
Do you feel like that hindered your experience at all, that you couldn't like kind of like look around things, that you had like this one view that was okay?
Sometimes I was a little more cautious. Like one of my other weapons was the mortar. I kind of stuck with that the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So like that made it kind of difficult that I couldn't see directionally, but a lot of times like I had a feeling there was, like there was going to be something there, so I would kind of creep up slowly,
Mm-hmm.
stay out of range, and then like just use my mortar to make sure that like flower that shoots out acid, is
Right.
like is going to be like thoroughly gone before I walk over there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay. So you not really particularly one way or another prefer um the sort of the 1 point view of the game.
right. Actually,
Okay.
when you think about like, okay, so because on this show I can only really compare it to
2 other games.
Fez,
Uh-huh.
I actually kind of liked it better. I don't know. It was kind of annoying with Fez that you were just turning all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I like just having to get focus better on the game. And it's easy for me now because the largest struggle for me is just surviving a lot. So
Right. I mean that's fine. Ideally through repetition of playing them, of just games in general, you'll kind of hopefully pick up a little bit
right.
more comfortability. Okay. How did you feel about the character designs? They're a little squashed, a little stretched, a little less realistic. It's kind of like what we've been dealing with. It's pretty standard fare, I guess, when you look at like Fez or Meat Boy, because they're both pretty stylized characters.
Right.
But I mean, I don't know. They maybe feel a little anime, maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. That didn't bother me that much though.
no.
Actually, kind of made my fan art a little bit easier.
Oh, there you go.
Stylized characters are easy to fan art, so I didn't mind it that much.
Okay. How did you, out of all the 3 characters the 3 main characters so far, which one's your favorite aesthetically?
Probably Ruckus.
Well, the kid is what we'd be comparing it to.
Oh.
The kid, Meat Boy, or Gomez.
The kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that because he has that next level of detail? Because he has more to him? There's a little bit more.
I think so.
Okay.
I like the steampunk look too. Like I just really related to his costume, so
You related to it. That's interesting. What do you mean by you related to it?
oh, I like the colors and everything like that, and
Okay,
like I just feel
you
like
would wear that if you were
well, if
young
I
and
was in a
sexy
video game,
traveler. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, with Fez, you're just kind of a lump with a Fez, and Meat Boy, you're a skinless meat block. So yeah, no, I guess that's why I related to it. It's kind of just some practicality and
Well, I mean, much like like a March Madness bracket. I mean, some characters are gonna get a little bit farther than others.
right.
So I mean, I would say Gomez is memorable. I wouldn't. He's not like a top 10, but I mean, he's a cutie.
Right.
Meat Boy is also a cutie, but I guess I would agree that the relatability of a human figure that uses weapons and hits stuff is a little bit more relatable, which is fine.
Right. I guess I'm like looking back at my fan art. I'm just scrolling through it
Mm-hmm.
and seeing like, I guess my favorite one to draw was definitely Meat Boy.
Yeah.
My most technically detailed is probably,
The
the kid.
Well, that certainly speaks to the value of Meat Boy simplicity and design. I mean, there's certainly nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Would you say that you're definitely a little bit more complex than you like in your character design? Maybe than rather than like iconic, you would rather have them be a little bit more robust. Okay.
Right. I just think that adds a lot to the character because it's like it relates more to what they might be like in real life. They'd be complex.
Okay.
Complex people. And...
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I don't know. Do you have any other comments about the way Bastion looks? Any?
Not really.
No.
It was beautiful. I liked it. I can't
There's so
really
much...
think of anything that was like that really like stood out as like ooh, that wasn't like pretty or anything like that, or that like misled me or something.
Mm-hmm. But it was definitely more of your speed for visuals. Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So, also treading new ground. Oh wait, actually, you know what? Presentation probably also counts for the music.
Yeah.
So
my favorite was probably the acoustic guitar track.
Yeah.
I just loved it. It was fantastic. Pretty much the whole soundtrack to this video game was good. I would listen to it just doing work.
Mm-hmm. I've done that. I've done that many times.
It's great.
Yeah, so it's similar to Meat Boy, which I know you didn't listen to, but in that it's very like it really informs the way kind of the mood and like sort of the style of the level. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely much more engaging than, let's just say, Fez, because it was really very sparse.
Mm-hmm.
So you definitely prefer the more iconic.
Yeah.
So that was some like notes on kind of like the soundtrack. It was made by one guy, and he just kind of like had like a bunch of like guitar effects and stuff that he just messed around with, and did like a bunch of like basement, recordings of. So, and I if I recall correctly, that he was like did like an interview, and he was just kind of like he really just was just trying to be as crafty as he could. Like he really kind of like played with effects a lot to try to like cover over sort of like the lower production value of like some of like his equipment. Right. So, but you couldn't tell because it was really memorable. It was, and I think it used a lot of interesting like sort of like exotic sounds, which I think was, it felt a little like I don't want to be like Middle Eastern, but like it had like those sort of like vibes to it. It kind of had like
well, that's where the maps seem to have it placed though. The map seemed to have the Bastion be in like almost like a Middle Eastern Europe. That's what it felt like. That's what the geography kind of looked like.
That sounds about right. Those two kind of like slap those together. Those sound about right. But yeah, I mean, it was really great. You just said the acoustic. Which part of the game would you say is the acoustic track that you're talking about? Is in?
Oh man, I think it's like right about the time that you beat you get the first 8 crystals, and you have the Bastion set up, and you go into that first big level.
Gotcha. So about halfway through. Gotcha.
And I think the introduction plays a little bit too.
Mm.
So.
Okay. So good soundtrack. We could probably rate them, but you didn't listen to Meat Boy, so we'll eventually work on that, kind of building that up. Okay.
You're never gonna let me live that one down, are you?
Nope. I mean, you could just listen to it whenever in your off time. We could have a discussion about it, but that's fine. All right. So gameplay. All right. So the big question we have here is, what was your 2-weapon combo?
Oh. So there was 3. There was your power move too. There was your potion move.
Well, I mean, yeah, you typically would have like a gun or like some sort of range weapon and some sort of like close combat weapon.
My go-to combo was it was double pistols for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Then it changed to what was it? I think it was flamethrower. As soon as I got the flamethrower, I use that. I use that thing like all the time. Flamethrower and mortar. It's probably more than anything else. So, and as soon as I was able to upgrade that flamethrower, dude, I was just I was just charring everything with that thing and going to town.
See, I mean, I really like the flamethrower, but it felt almost like cheating.
That's why I liked it.
All right. Well, that.
I like effective things. I don't know. I felt like I'm.
I mean, that's fine. I mean, I'm not hating.
What did you choose? What did you choose?
Well, I definitely like the carbine because it allowed me to, because I really liked the zero in and on the shot. That was really satisfying to shoot because you're kind of had like a wide skill curve or like a you could get really good shots and they could do a lot of damage, and that took a little bit extra effort, and I really enjoyed that because it was a little bit harder to use. I was pretty indifferent on my close combat weapon. I think I ended up going with the machete, maybe.
Yeah, I went with the machete for a long time too.
Because there's the hammer and there's the machete.
Right. Then there's the shotgun one.
Well, is the shotgun? Wait, which one?
That was like the single shot one. It was kind of more like a hand cannon or something because
gotcha.
It like sprayed when it shot.
And then, so really, there's actually only three major melee weapons then, because it's the hammer, it's the machete, and then there's the spear, and the spear was just not great.
Yeah. Did you have to use a spear to beat the crocodile thing?
Probably.
Because I'm not sure. I tried not to use it, and then I somehow messed up and had to redo that level, and I had just used it, and I felt like I was never going to beat that crocodile thing.
Right. I don't know. It's been so long. but no, I was definitely into the carbine, and I think I used the machete the most. And I don't know. Like I said, the pike just wasn't that engaging, and the hammer, I don't know. The motion of the hammer just felt weird because there was a lot of winding up for the hit.
Right.
And I like the machete because it's a little bit faster, a little bit more.
Oh yeah, with machete you could go to town and you could throw it.
Oh, that's right.
Which is really a great feature once you upgraded the blades.
Right.
Throwing it was just like. As soon as I got the mortar, I was able to kind of stop doing that a little bit more, but.
I found myself really kind of having to switch between a lot of things, though. I feel like I could never really kind of keep one weapon for very long. And they definitely encourage you to kind of switch things up, which I guess is okay.
Right.
Do you feel like do you think there was too many weapons?
No. I think there was enough. I felt like there was weapons that I connected with more, so I chose to stick with them. I mean, the mortar was pretty early in the game is when you get that one, and I stuck with that one throughout the whole entire game. You know what I mean? And I feel like the machetes I used for a long time, those are pretty early. The flamethrower wasn't until the last level or two that you actually get that one.
Yeah.
And it's such a powerful weapon that it's hard to actually want to let that one go.
I just can't remember ever being I want to use this mortar. It just felt like.
Okay. So the pleasure that you got from using what was it, of being able to home in on it?
Yeah.
That was the same way that I got to use the mortar. It was exciting to stand back and watch it go out in front of you, and then watch it fly over there and just get rid of everything that was even close to wherever that thing dropped.
Okay, that's fair.
And I know I could get over stuff too if I used that. It wasn't hard. I feel like with the guns a lot, you were shooting stuff that was in front of you, the barriers and stuff, especially in the one in the poison forest at levels. With the mortar, I could shoot over that stuff and get to them, and then just go up with the machete or flamethrower and just burn it all down or chop through it really easily.
Well, did you find yourself rolling around a lot, blocking?
No, not real. Okay, yeah, with the shield, yeah, I use that a lot, but rolling, not so much. I think that was, and I felt like that was just because I went on the I can't die level.
Mhm.
You know, like I was just like, well, it's okay. I can just run at stuff sometimes and be kind of gung ho and crazy. And
See, I think I was overly concerned with Mickey Charles flipping around, doing flips and shit. I was like really like staying as active as possible, and I felt like that more often than not got me killed. um, and also because I was using a carbine, so I was just like, well, they're really close to me, and so I kind of have to like back up and blow them apart. But I mean, the game let me play the way I wanted to play, which I think is good. Is that it doesn't really? I mean, it nudges you as to what weapons you should use, but I don't think it
right,
ever definitively tells you what is the best weapon.
right.
But did you feel like there was a best weapon? Did you feel like there was a worse weapon?
Yeah, I feel like the worst weapon is probably the hammer.
The hammer?
I didn't develop it that much, so I can't really say that I'm like 100% certain. But as soon as I got a chance to get rid of that thing, it was gone.
Too
That's why I felt
slow?
like the flamethrower was the best weapon. Because I mean,
Yeah.
you could just burn it down. You just go and go and go and burn and burn.
So that means you liked the pike more than the hammer.
Yeah, because
Wow.
you could throw it.
Oh, okay.
At least you could get people from a distance. Like that's my strategy when I go is like get them before they know you're there. You know, operating in stealth.
That's interesting that you're like, listen, this pike that's really really hard to use, and you kind of only stab in one direction.
The hammer
Not
you could only hit in one direction, and you had to be really close. That was my problem with the machete too. Until you learn how to throw it, is that you're pretty much you have to be like right in front of them, and if they're shooting projectiles at you, you are, you know, unless you're throwing up the shield all the time, which is such a good. That was probably another like really powerful weapon that was I like easily learned how to utilize was throwing up the shield to
mhm.
like block things and send them back. That was a good. I mean, they should count that as a weapon more than they should
Yeah.
as like something that you just have.
Mhm. Oh, the bounce when you like
Oh
uh
yeah,
missiles and stuff,
yeah.
or
That thing
like
is devastating.
yeah. I mean, yeah. um, did you like how you could like kind of upgrade stuff and kind of choose the way you kind of wanted
Yeah,
to kind of build up your
I like
character?
that. Yeah, I like that. I like that they made you choose
Mm-hmm.
when you upgraded. Like you would either have this or you could have this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you can't have both. You can either have like 25% more range, or you can have, you know, 25% more impact. And I was like,
Right.
oh, I like this. This is like a good thing to think about. It's not like the hard. It's not like the doesn't give you always like the good answer. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I thought about that a lot. I was like, well, I'd rather have the power because I just want to knock stuff out. I don't really want to. The spray is something I'm worried about because my like potion was the like floating worm that made all the other things fall in love with it.
Mm-hmm.
So that was easy. As soon as I got in a lot of trouble, I just whipped a couple of those out and like just sprayed flames all over everything. You know what I mean? Like it was quick and they were off your back really easy. So
The whole
that's what it is.
time.
Yeah, no, I kept the squirt the whole entire time.
Wow. That felt like such like an entry level ability.
No, that I love that weapon. That was fantastic. But I guess I mean, my like, I guess I'm talking about it now that I have like a philosophy of stealth.
Okay.
So draw them away from you, and then you can decide what you want to do after that.
Squirt lure. That's what it is. I think, yeah.
Yep, that's what it is.
What a squirt. Companion to the rescue. Popular at children's parties and useful in other situations. I don't know. What did I choose? I don't know.
But
What did I?
that thing would draw anything to it. As long as it was in like the proximity of that, you could use that thing. That thing got the gator to go to it.
I'm trying to think of what I even got. Because I'm like looking through these and I'm like, I don't care about any of these. Oh man, maybe that was a good one. Maybe I used a grenade.
Yeah, that was all right.
I feel like I maybe didn't even probably use those.
I tried to do this. I tried to do the spinny shield too, but that was dumb. I went right back to the squirt.
Yeah. Hmm. Interesting. Man, this is making me want to actually go back and really play. See, that's the problem. I gotta go back and I gotta play them every time. I gotta because I gotta feel those.
You.
Yeah, I gotta feel those feels again.
Right.
So let's see here. Any other gameplay parts?
We already talked about the endings, all the different endings.
That's true.
So that was.
Did you feel okay? Did you feel the game was too challenging for you? Do you feel like it was?
No. If I wouldn't have had the, like immortal mode, yeah, it would have been really difficult. But having that immortal mode made me feel really confident that I could go in and like play the game, and I wasn't gonna have to die instantly all the time. It took me a little bit to learn the controls because I don't have that much. I don't have very much game dexterity. So like sometimes I was felt like I was hitting buttons and like, oh no, I didn't want to use a life potion yet, and I was just filling it up. Or like, oh, I didn't want to do that, and I was doing it. So it took about 3 hours to learn good dexterity.
Whew. Well, hopefully with the next one, you'll be able to. We'll build it up. We'll build up your endurance. But I mean, I feel like I never really had like a huge snag. I feel like it was always. I feel it was challenging, but I ever feel like it was too hard. Which is good. I feel like. I don't know. I don't really care about being that good, like that good of a gamer. I don't really. I like because I'm playing through a game right now where it's like you got to collect things in a level. Like, well, that sounds really vague, but like there's like a lot of emphasis on like collecting things and collecting everything in every level. And so I've been really trying to make sure that I collect everything because I kind of like finding out those little secrets because like things will be hidden. You'll be like, ooh. Because it's nice and like cerebrally challenging to be like, where do developers think to put these items, these secret items? And you find them and you're like, oh, I'm smart. So yeah, this game didn't actually have a whole lot of that. Actually, it was more about
you get to the end, you get the crystal, you go back, you put it in place, upgrade your Bastion.
Yeah,
that was it.
There's some like little secrets. I don't think there was ever like.
Well, I mean, you start finding like the, what was it? Or like when you had all the pieces, the little gold. What were those things called? They weren't coins. They were like gold little cocoons, or something. I felt like if you started crushing certain things, you would find a bunch of them, or you would find the whole gears.
Oh, gotcha.
Like the opposite path or something. So it kind of like encouraged risk taking, which wasn't that big of a deal for me, clearly, but
right.
I did go down. I did take those paths when I saw them. I felt like, oh, it's worth it to go down here because you can find that extra potion or the extra level achievement thing.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, any other thoughts about the gameplay?
Not really.
Okay. And I guess we'll talk about the struggle and any final thoughts. So any particular struggles that you had?
Dexterity. Game control dexterity is just a thing. So once I picked it up, it was pretty easy, but it was hard at first. Still no
gamepad. Still using.
Yep, still using the keyboard.
That's okay, because that's important. Because you could be in class or whatever. You could be in school and you're trying to play it, and you're not gonna whip out a game controller. So you have to. To me, I think a game should be able to be at least reasonably played secretly in a college class. So, I mean, I played a lot of Minecraft in class. It was a good way to keep me awake.
I guess at one point in time, oh no. Dang.
What?
Sorry. Just, oh, sorry. Baseball.
Oh, okay.
The crap. The game didn't save for me one time. It was actually on the Gator level, so I had to replay that entire level.
Oh,
Which wasn't that big of a deal because it took another, like, what, 10 minutes, but I was like,
right.
didn't I already beat this? And is it supposed to automatically save? I don't understand.
Mm-hmm. I mean, no one wants to replay a level.
Right.
At least in one playthrough. You know, it's like sometimes if you lose like a lot of save data, like if you play through like a large chunk of the game, it just like somehow just gets deleted.
Oh, yeah.
That's enough to just put the game down. You're like, I'm not doing this again. But it's like, you know, you play, you beat it, then like years later you go back and you play it, and of course you want to play it because you haven't played in a while, but you know, if you're in the middle of that grind, you just don't want to have to backtrack through it all again. So I understand that feel. I mean, good job for doing it again.
But I mean, other than that, it was good.
Mm-hmm. So you'd say this is a good direction to go in.
Yeah. I'd be totally play. If there was a Bastion 2, I'd totally play it.
Yeah. Well, they do have a new game that's not Bastion 2, but it's made by the same team called Transistor, which is a little bit more turn-based, but it's still in sort of if you literally took the style of Bastion and sort of like the general ideas, like I think that Bastion sets up, it kind of does the same thing, but it puts you in a different world. And you have like a magical talking sword. So there's definitely more Bastion-like action that we can get to. Maybe a few games down the line, we'll be able to go back and we'll visit Transistor. So that's good. I'm glad that you liked it enough to play another game in the series. Cool. Well, I don't know. Any other final thoughts?
Good game. Favorite so far.
Good game.
Highly recommend it to people who want to play games.
That's right. Big GG.
This is the first game that I honestly can say that I would revisit and play.
That's right. We're developing a system. It's either revisit and well, we beat it, so we'll just say you're not going to revisit it in a week, but a month or a year,
right? Or I would, and that said too, I would go back and like go to some of the more challenged, or not but the weapons levels where you have to beat the weapons to unlock some of the stuff. I would do that, or see what some of the different potions do. I feel like I never really found out how to utilize any of the potions that you have in your bag or anything like that. It was just all there for no reason.
And of course, you didn't really focus on sort of the games that made the things that made the game harder, because you're already like, I can't handle this game right now. So, which is perfectly fine. I didn't personally feel compelled to finish or like to redo any of the levels with like a harder mode like the new game plus. So that's fine.
Right.
But if you really loved it, you could go back. Cool.
This would be something I'd recommend to people. Fez,
First game to recommend?
Yep. Out of all the ones we've
played
so far, yeah.
Cool. Well, it's good to hear. We're making progress. We're figuring out what Shaun likes. Able to hopefully get win after win, and then maybe we'll drop a bomb on him, and it'll be, this game sucks. I hate it. That'll be fine.
My attitude has changed a little bit since Meat Boy. I feel like I kind of tore that game apart the first time, but
That's fine. I mean, it's an indie darling, but you know what? If you're not into really hard precision platformers, then fuck it. You know, it's not really worth your time. You know,
Yeah.
we kind of discussed that it's, you know, it's like I'm not really like craving to go back to it, but I certainly enjoyed it while I played it. You know, so. All right. So, I guess we'll keep you guys filled in on the next game. And we'll still keep you updated when we're going to have the next episodes. Probably, I think we're returning back to the normal schedule now because you're not traveling anytime soon. Cool. So that means we can get this show back up on the road going. All right.
Doing the roads.
That's right. All right. Well, I guess we'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.